One hour later.
Most people don't go on social media expecting to lose an hour, but it still happens anyway. One video, then another video, and then another, and before you know it, you spent far longer scrolling than you meant to. So, why can't we stop scrolling? We all do it, whether it's in bed, on the bus, or whenever we're bored. Now, the issue is, everyone takes their phone with them wherever they go. And if we have our phones, we're probably going to start scrolling. So the issue is, why are we finding it so hard to stop, even when we know how bad it is for us? So over the past few months, I've been researching doom scrolling behaviours among young adults to try and better understand what is going on. Not just why we do it, but how social media platforms are designed to keep us there for longer periods of time, by using features like infinite scroll, autoplay, personalised feeds and notifications. Features that we think are normal now, but they're quietly shaping how we spend our time on these platforms. So the main question is, what is doom scrolling? Doom scrolling is usually described as consuming online content for a long period of time, especially when the content feels emotionally intense, repetitive, or difficult to stop watching. But during this project, the behaviour often looks more ordinary than that. People scrolling automatically, filling quiet moments, opening apps without really thinking about it. Nearly half of the participants from my research reported spending between 3 to 4 hours on social media a day, with an extra quarter saying that they spent 5 to 6 hours daily. That's a lot of time on social media. So, what platform features are keeping us hooked? Now, one of the most common things mentioned by people I interviewed was how hard it was to remove yourself from social media once you'd start scrolling. Now, this is exactly what the platform designers have been trying to do. They removed all the stopping cues so that all your brain can think of is looking for the next video, and the feed will give it to you. You start to forget the things that your mind was focused on a minute ago, and then you've fallen down the rabbit hole. In fact, over 70% of participants said they often or very often scroll longer than intended. And this shows how easy it is to get sucked into these platforms. Another issue is that apps don't just wait to be opened. They're constantly trying to draw your attention to your device through notifications, suggested posts, and reminders. And I actually believe that notifications play a massive part to the issue. Let's say you get a buzz from your phone, so you know that your device is telling you there's something to pay attention to. Now, you don't know what that notification is. It could be good news, bad news, or no news at all. But you're not going to know until you check. Now, I feel like that creates a level of uncertainty that's going to force you to pick up your phone almost every time. Now, not only does this mean that people are going to be picking up their phones at every ping and every buzz, they might even be feeling a little bit anxious to find out what's on their device. It could be anything from good news from a friend, to bad news from a news channel, or even worse, bad news from a loved one. You're not going to know until you check your phone. Now, let's say it was none of those things and just a notification from Instagram, and you pick up your phone, you tap on it, and you end up scrolling for 10 minutes. And then you realize afterwards that that's not what you wanted to do, but it's just coming natural. Now, another platform feature that results in prolonged engagement is personalized feeds. The more that someone spends scrolling, the more specific the content on their device becomes. Platforms are designed to learn what holds the attention the most, what people pause on the most, react to the most, or replay the most, and then it gradually reshapes the content that it gives you after receiving this data. If the content that these platforms are giving you is stuff that you want to see, then you're more inclined to watch it more often. Now, this section of the video, I want to turn to the effects of doom scrolling on people. What was mainly described was not about enjoyment, but more exhaustion. Only 6% of participants said they felt positive after long scrolling sessions. the most common response was actually feeling guilty after spending a lot of time on the platforms. One of the most common patterns in both the survey and interviews was late night scrolling. Almost half of the participants said they continue to scroll late at night after they intended to stop, while another 19% said it happens almost every day. What often starts as a few minutes before sleep often leads to longer periods of time. Researchers and health organisations have also linked excessive late night social media use with poorer sleep quality, mental fatigue, and disrupted sleep patterns. Some participants even forgot what they had just watched. They remembered the scrolling, but not the content itself. One thing I kept noticing while making this project was how quickly people were reaching for stimulation. Any pause in the day gets filled almost instantly, whether you're waiting in line, walking alone, sitting alone. Moments that used to feel empty now immediately become scrolling time. So one other thing that I wanted to touch on is how our attention spans are being affected by doom scrolling. Now, most social media use happens alongside other things. For example, people are scrolling while they're eating or while they're studying, watching TV, and sometimes even while they're having conversations. Now, several studies have linked excessive social media use with attention dysregulation and difficulty sustaining focus. Short form content is going to train our attention differently. The constant switching between videos, sounds, and topics creates an environment where focus rarely stays in one place for very long. So, what can we do? The more research that I did for this project, the less doom scrolling felt like a lack of self-control. Most people already understand how these platforms are designed. I believe the challenge is going to be changing behaviours that have become automatic. One possible response is reintroducing friction. Small interruptions that forces attention to become conscious again. A good example is turning off your notifications or removing certain apps from your home screen, or even keeping your phone away from you at night. Not because these solve the issue, but because they're going to interrupt the automatic behaviours. Another thing that kept appearing throughout this project was how uncomfortable silence and boredom have become. An empty moment now immediately becomes scrolling time. A lot of older forms of media had their own natural stopping points, and unfortunately social media nowadays often doesn't. This means that people are probably going to have to start creating those natural stopping points themselves. Now, the problem itself isn't that people use social media. It's how seamlessly these platforms occupy time that used to belong to rest, reading, or even just plain boredom. Unfortunately for us, the hardest habits to recognise are the ones that feel completely normal. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.